Hey, it's Mooch. Here's another controversial topic. To quit your job or just get fired over 50. Okay, so here's a little story time about something that happened in my life, or, well, didn't happen. I did it, I guess, or I was a participant in it. It's my life. Anyway, here's the story. So for 9.5 years, I had worked very hard with a team. It was a good team. I was friends with my director, who was above me. We had kind of started very close, maybe within about 6 months of each other on the team. So we kind of started from the same place, 9.5, 10-ish years ago, whatever. So we learned all the things on the team, we kind of knew how to do all the different jobs, and we started at a different level. We were not the managers of the team, obviously, when we started. So over the years, we learned how to do everything. We also devised a lot of the processes and the policies and the things. So we created a lot of what was there over the almost 10 years that we were there. She was there, just at this place a little bit longer than I was overall. But so when it came to a regime change above our heads, this was more of a departmental or division sort of thing where there was a change of the guard. Someone retired, so a new person was hired in for the position above my director. This new person, he was not good. He was not good at all. It's almost like he didn't understand technology. He didn't understand project plans. He didn't seem to understand just the basics of anything, or he just didn't want to. And fine, whatever. I personally don't care. And he was just all around bad at what he did. I mean, I call him the monkey because he would be in meetings eating bananas. He would be in high level meetings eating bananas. And I'm just like, okay, dude, if that's what you want to do, I mean, I get it. We all have to eat in between the many, many Zoom meetings and things that we've got, but maybe be off camera, or maybe do that within the 5 minutes that you have in between meetings, really. Anyway, I'm not even going to describe how horrible he was to my director, but he allowed other teams to railroad our team to the point that we almost couldn't do our job anymore. And again, this is after almost a decade of successfully doing many software implementations and maintaining all of the systems that we had in place already. So, I mean, we're doing our daily work, we're doing our project work, we're doing all the work. And it's not like we're not doing it. So we're properly doing all of our work, doing it well, as we always have. And there's a completely other separated division from us who we work with, like sort of another, we'll call them, for lack of a better word, like a different IT division. Because my team's not sitting in an IT division where I worked before, but we were sort of a quasi IT team. So we worked with this other huge IT division in this place, and they never had any problems with us. Like, when my director finally talked to, another director that we'd regularly work with, she couldn't understand what was happening as far as why our division hated us so much or didn't like the work we were doing all of a sudden. Because she's like, we've never had a problem. Like, we've never had a problem with you guys. We've worked with you for years and never had any problems. And this was the consensus with a lot of people outside, that they didn't have a problem working with us or our team. So great. But the problem is that this new guy, he had a big problem with us. He wanted to dissolve our team, and he kept denying that he wanted to dissolve our whole team. He made all of the other analysts underneath us question everything about their jobs. It was a nightmare trying to keep the team together and okay, and tell them that their job was secure, because that's what he was telling us. So what else could we say? I mean, obviously we have to tell them if you're not happy anymore and you want to go get another job, we support you. We'll write you a letter of recommendation or whatever and be a reference. It's not, we fully supported our team. So I know this is like a boring work story. I'm sorry. I'll get to the point. So anyway, moving this story along, my director and I, we decided we can't stay there anymore. I mean, I had prayed a lot about it, and God was just telling me you have to remove yourself from the situation. And it's not the first time I've left a job, but the last time I left a job like this, I left and I moved to another state. So, and I had already had like 3 remote interviews from this other place. So I kind of knew I would have a job probably when I moved to this other state. And anyway, that's the job that I ended up getting, or another job rather, with this company that I had for 9.5 years, or over 9.5 years, really. It was like 9 years, 7 months, or whatever it was. But so she and I decide we're quitting. So literally, the director and the next person in charge under her were chopping the head off the team. I felt bad, but at the same time, we couldn't stay because that was the thing. Now, here's where it gets to: do you quit your job or do you wait to get fired? Because he hated her so much. We could see that he was trying to build some case against her to get her fired. Now, I don't know exactly how he was going to try to do that because she's great, or she was great at her job. She's great at what she does today. I mean, she's always been great. So that's why she had her job for years. And, I'd like to think I was pretty good at what I did. I tried as hard as I could, and my reviews were always good. So it is what it is. But I just decided it's time to leave. And people would normally freak out about this. They'd be like, "You don't have a parachute. What are you going to do? You're not going to get unemployment if you quit your job. You're not." So there's no safety net there. I mean, I knew God had a safety net in, yes, I had some savings, I had some other money. No, is it the greatest, best choice in the world? No. But at the same time, I was like, wow, I'll kind of be damned to have this jerk fire me after working there for like, well, it was 9.5 years. And then if I had stayed for a couple more months or whatever it was, I would have hit my 10-year mark. So I'm really gonna be like, wow, I'm gonna let him fire me after I slaved and worked and sweat, and it was blood, sweat, and tears for 10 years of doing these implementations and on the hard work that we did. And it wasn't letting up. They were just piling more and more work on us and shrinking down the timeline. So it's like, if you're not giving us any more people and we don't have any more time, how exactly are we executing all these? Like, he had no concept of more care, I guess. I think it was just lack of caring. He does not care. And from reports that I've gotten now, like 8 months later after I'm gone, from other team members who are still hanging on there, it's worse than ever. So it's like, wow, I hope you can get out of there, because it's not good for your career, because basically you're just waiting to be on the chopping block or waiting to be blamed for something that really you didn't do, because that's what it felt like. It felt like every day we were waiting to get thrown under the bus for something that we didn't do. Our team was just, it was just bad. Anyway, I'm boring you with the story, but the bottom line is I had to leave. And like I said, I was going to live off my savings. I wasn't going to live on unemployment. I tried to apply a couple months later and justify it with the fact that by that time, at that point that I applied for unemployment, 4 people, 4 people of an 8-person department. We were a tiny department of only 8 people. Okay. And we ran a help desk. We did all these implementations, all these projects. We did a whole suite of reporting. We basically had like 2 reporting people who did nothing but reporting all day long. And like the demand for reports is crazy there. Like, really, they should have a whole reporting team, but we have two people who work their butts off. But also, there's a ton of reporting work that was built into the projects that we were doing. So these poor people, they were just slammed beyond slammed. But so was our whole team, because we are keeping everything running, doing all these projects, running a help desk to support all of our current systems. And it just wasn't letting up. So I'm like, yeah, there's no good solution to this. And I can see the end of the road is just going to be, like I said, us being blamed for something that goes wrong finally because we just didn't have time or people or something to do it, you know? And I'm like, I don't want to drive this bus anymore. So even though it's been very difficult in some ways, it's been a relief and freeing in so many ways to maintain control over my own career. I resigned so I can still always hold my head high going, yep, worked there for a good, respectable 9.5+ years. I decided to resign from my position. I mean, and I won't badmouth anybody in an interview. That won't sound good for me or them. And it won't make my potential new employer think well. But I mean, I have to tell the truth in a way of like, there was just the vision on projects just diverged too much. And I just didn't agree with it anymore, really. So I had to just kind of move myself on. And it's fine. They are entitled to conduct projects in any manner that they see fit. But if I didn't think it was realistic and doable, I couldn't stay for it. But anyway, I would word it better than that, I'm sure, in an interview. But basically, I'm just telling you, like, that is the basics of why I left. I couldn't drive, like I said, I just couldn't drive that bus anymore. So it's been interesting and hard to just watch your bank account kind of like trickle down, and money that, yes, was for my retirement being used, because that's what has to be used right now. And it's not ideal, but at the same time, I'm very led by God. I look to God for everything, and God has given me so many things. I should do a video on everything that God has blessed me with and done for me and with me. I've been a Christian now for 13 years. And I know some people just won't believe in that, or they won't like it or whatever, and that's fine. You do you. I'm not saying you have to believe in or do whatever I'm doing, but I have to testify to what happens in my life and what I'm doing. So God has never let me down. So I can't distrust what he told me to do, again, which was remove myself from that situation, get out of there. Plus, it was so toxic. That's the other thing, too. I think, honestly, if your job is just killing you to the point where I wasn't sleeping. I was going to sleep at like 4 a.m. finally, when I could like calm my body down. But I was so anticipating like the next day of, all these problems and these things that we can't solve. And so that's the thing. Once you're running up against problems you can't solve on a daily basis, no matter how much you've prayed about it, it's really God telling you, this is not solvable because the person above you is just causing this horrific thing, and they're not going to leave. Because I know everybody's like, well, can't he be fired? Can't he leave? No. I mean, do you know how hard it is to fire someone above you? And at that level, he's at a very high level in this. Uh, it's a university. Okay. I'm not even going to say it's a business. So, no, he was not going to get fired in any way, shape, or form, especially when he was like besties with another super high up person who really supports his, he, as usual, this is what happens in the high up levels, is the bestie person doesn't ever see the negative side of this person's work and how horrible they are at their job or what they're doing or what they're not doing. So of course they're going to defend and support them or whatever. So we knew there was no recourse with HR. There's no real case. We couldn't really prove, unfortunately, the abuse and the game playing that he was doing with my director. So she just kind of had to live through it, and I heard about it a lot. And, thankfully I was protected by one level, but I felt really horrible for her because she was my friend too. That was one of the friends that I had made at work. Like I said, I rarely make friends at work, but I was and am friends with her, and I'm glad that she's where she is now. She has actually moved to a more prestigious university, and she is in a higher position. So I'm almost like, wow, you were just blessed infinitely, and as you should be, because she's just really a hard worker and just great at what she does. But she's talented too. So there's a difference. There's hard work and then there's talent, and she has a true talent for what she's doing. So it's like, wow, I'm glad somebody else saw that and is using it. So what I'm saying with all of this is, you have tough choices to make, pray about it, but also don't not make them, because it could be a total detriment to your health. I mean, like I said, I wasn't sleeping for months and months on end, and I knew eventually, like, this is going to destroy me completely. And when I finally quit and had to, I literally had to decompress so much that I almost, in the beginning, I almost didn't do anything. I think I would just wake up, make my coffee or whatever, or something for breakfast, or go get breakfast, drive to the beach near me. And I didn't have any plans for my days because I just needed to do nothing for about 3 months. And I know it's a long time, but that's what I needed to do to kind of decompress and reset myself. I had to reset myself to, wow, can I sleep again? Can I get on something where I can sleep again? And actually I would just end up getting up later in the mornings. I noticed, wow, my wake up time at that point was like 9 a.m. I used to have to go to work way earlier than that. And like I said, I was going to sleep at like 4 a.m. because that's when I could finally decompress, and I would just collapse from being so overly stimulated, but also tired. And it's been a blessing to recover. So that's what I would say to you if you are really stuck in a place. If there's any money, or I had already refied my house for some other projects and things that I needed to do, but that would have been another money option. All I'm saying is there are money options that I know are not always ideal, but they might be what you can do temporarily in the meantime, while you're looking for another job, or while you're starting a side hustle, or you're going to start a business of your own. So one of those things, I think, if you can get away from the toxic place, regain yourself, regain your health, leave with integrity. I feel like I left with everything that I put in. I left having that still. If they had fired me, I don't want to say it's like they took it away, but in a way, it would have basically been a black mark on me, like, you didn't do a good job. And it's like, no, I did my job, and I did a good job for almost a decade, and I'm not letting you take that away from me. Even though my job has never been my identity, but to me it was still, at least, you spend a lot of time at your job. I spent a lot of time at my job. So you don't want to have that thrown away by someone else. It's one thing if you pick up and you throw the grenade at the bridge and you walk away on the other side of the bridge and you blew up the bridge. Okay, you're responsible for it. You got to walk on. But yeah, like I said, it's contemplate it. I think that you'll see that if you really examine, if you're in the middle of a toxic situation and you don't think there's a way out, and it's tough when you reach that over 50 space because of ageism in the workplace, but also just the fact that you're like, oh, wow, I thought I was going to retire in 10, 15 years, or I thought, I was getting to the end of my career, or I was going to just retire here, or whatever. It's always tough because it just rocks your world like, well, this isn't what I planned. But at the same time, I have had my plans change in my life outside of my control. And better things, way better things happened in my life, and blessings came into my life. And there have been so many blessings now. I mean, I feel so much better. So there's that. I have more time with my friends than ever, but also I'm doing some things now, working on some projects and a business where I will have control over it. I won't have somebody else telling me what to do. So that's positive. But either way, just don't cut yourself off from the possibilities of what you might be able to do. And you might be quitting your job. You might be quitting your job and walking away instead of waiting to get fired. Okay. And I honestly encourage you to examine every single aspect you can examine about quitting instead of getting fired. Okay. All right. If you're out there and you're in it and you're surviving, I wish you the best. I send you all the best energy, and good luck with everything that you're doing.